Hey guys, so the trailer for the new 16-man raid that's coming out in Korea, Behemoth, just dropped last night. And I took the time to kind of take a look at the trailer and react to it, and I shared a little bit of my kind of excitements about it, but also some of my hesitations and worries about the raid. So I wanted to share that to you guys today in case y'all missed it from my stream. I stream every single night at 10 p.m. PST on twitch.tv/misoashiru. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. 6 minutes ago uploaded.
혼돈의 가디언들이
Oh,
크루잔으로 몰려들고
whoa,
있습니다.
Velga, Carl.
그들은 마치
Ain't no way. We got some
지위를
Flame
받을 것
Fox
같았어요.
Yoho and Nakrasina?
분명 이 변화를 주도하는 존재가 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
60-man raid?
막아야 해요. 그 존재가 무엇이든 말이죠.
Oh, look, our breaker boy right there. Our breaker boy. What is that? That's the dragon from, like, the story, right? In Voldus, I think? Behemoth? Player raid mechanics. Imagine having to get together 60 players for a raid. Oh boy, what the hell? Oh, fighting some Velga? Oh no. Imagine having to fight Velga in the middle of this and Carl. Oh god. Oh no. Those are Lazaro.
기회는 단 한 번. 지금뿐입니다.
Sheesh. 60-man raids. That is looking insane. Either Ego boost for underlining fighter. Look, I'm gonna be real with you guys, but I am not at all excited for 60-man raids. I feel like Theamine was probably a mistake. And I think this is going to be their next big mistake. If this raid is really difficult, right? If it's like, even like a con level difficulty, getting together a 16-man party to prog this shit sounds impossible for most people. This was going to kill the game, to be honest. They made a giga mistake. Content for sweats. Like, what's wrong with Theamine? I think Theamine is just too hard for the normal person. I think, like, this game itself, one of the reasons, and maybe this is, like, along the topic of, like, what we're talking about, but, like, this game is way too catered for the giga hardcore player. Like, the hardcore endgame player. And if you want a game to grow and a game to continue to doing well, you can't just cater to that audience. You have to have something for the mid-tier player. This was too hard for me. Yo. That's not something I do during the stream. That's a post-stream type of content. You know how many players play Helmo? High difficult contents for each player base. Difficulty seeping into standard rate progression now. Skater KR version, they have 3 more years of experience. Well, not necessarily, because there's a lot of new players in KR2 who don't have that experience, right? So after hours. The problem is, how would you improve it to the casual player? I wouldn't even make this content. That's what I would do. I wouldn't have even made this content to begin with. Nobody needs to do Thaemon G4 hard mode, which is the only real hard stuff anyways. I mean, nobody needs to do anything. Nobody needs to do well. I forget. Do you unlock the better ascendances from normal, like gate 3 or gate 4? Hard mode Thaemon. Karma balancing out. Rolls 10 down. Shev gets jailed to count 3. Gate 3 hard mode. I see. I see. Are new players going to Thamine or Hardikin or Akinda? Not necessarily, no. But they can probably get there pretty quickly with all the like expresses and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that Theamine itself, it's not even just like here's the thing, right? I think that you're gonna put this hard content in the game, but you're gonna put a reward behind it, right? So everybody's going to want to get that reward and they're going to keep trying to prog it and trying to get it. And for most people, I think that if they slam their head into the wall enough, they'll stop doing it, but at the same time, still FOMO. They'll FOMO because they want that reward and they can't get it, right? So that's the problem. And that's why I think that even though Gate 4 is not required, people will feel like it's required and like FOMO out on it, which is again why I think it's a mistake. Even though it's not required, just because you have a good reward behind it makes players want to do it. And for the players who aren't able to do it, they FOMO and then quit. Based on what I've seen in 6 weeks of Extreme Vaulton, I can definitely tell you that most people are not ready for Thaemine. Yeah, I don't think so either. And like, again, for this 16-man raid, right? Imagine grabbing a party of 16 people to prog it, right? Imagine having to grab a party of 16 people, which is a hurdle in itself, right? You have to find 4 supports and 12 DPS and progging this and you have to do it every single week, or maybe it's every other week. I don't know. I don't know what the frequency of this is, but having to do this and find that party together, and it's not only like finding the party, right? You have to make sure timing wise, you have to coordinate 16 people's schedules to do this. I mean, like, yes, there are like 40-man raids and WoW and things like that, right? Or there were. But like I don't know. I just feel like we're kind of like, I don't think the audience for Lost Ark can do that. Because back in the day, the main people who were playing WoW were like people in school, right? So it's like weekends, all they did was like play WoW. Like week at afternoons after school, WoW all the way, right? But the audience for Lost Ark is like mostly between 25 to 35, I'd say. And those people, a lot of times, full-time jobs, have a family. Like being able to coordinate 16 people together is going to be hard. Oh, there's no good reward, it's just completion. I see. But weren't people like jailed? Like I think there were a good number of people that were jailed gate 3 even to that get jailed gate 3 even today in Thaemine, right? In Korea. I thought like I've heard about like ATK and like Saint or Wine Blue or something like being jailed pretty often, or like having quite a few jail runs in like G3 in Pugs. The average player in Lost Ark Charles Walton. 6-man raid seems like a mistake, but maybe there won't be any insta wipe mechanics and it'll be fine. Yeah, we'll just see how the execution is, but like it'll be like they're putting a lot of hype behind it, right? And if it's not like relatively difficult content or whatever, like it would kind of be like, oh, I feel like a lot of people were disappointed. Imagine the busing opportunity. They're doing the third for the first mode, but isn't I don't know. Again, I haven't done Thamine. I haven't watched a lot of Thamine stuff, so I can't really say for sure. But Thamine is supposed to be like kind of the hardest raid ever, right? So in that sense, even if Gate 4 is like the hardest, shouldn't Gate 1 to 3 be like still harder than anything that we have in the game? But again, that's just me who has never really watched much Thamine stuff. It should be Argos difficulty, not make it buggable. When do you want to do the roster review? We can do it whenever. We can do it after this discussion, Lazaro. Who doesn't have the ability to use blues or revive is going to be so fucking dead, disparage. Is made for G1, G2 homework. Gate 3 is the same as Braille Gate 4 in difficulty. Gate 4 is supposed to be clear like once. What do you want a 60-man raid to be publicable? I think so. I think the 60-man, like, again, I think 60-man raid, I don't know, man. It seems like a mistake to me. Depending on how they implement it. If they make it so that it's relatively easy, then sure. But at the same time, like, what's the point of, like, making this big old thing up and be like, oh, we're hyping it up, right? So there have to be some level of difficulty to it. Like, and again, 16 people. Getting 16 people together for a scheduling sounds like a nightmare. Like, I remember my old static, right? With Miser. We had like 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours for 3 days a week. That's all we had. We had 2 to 3 hours for 3 days a week for an 8-man raid. If it's 16 man, imagine how tough that is. The difficulty is finding 16 people, yeah. Wait till you see 32-man raid. Yeah, please no. Why can't it why does that have to be difficult? Why can't it just be fun? I mean, I feel like how would we make the raid fun without making it difficult, I guess? Yeah, not to mention half the raid is like in different time zones, yeah. Final enemy, 64-man raid. Please, no. At least server mergers are happening. All North America is pretty big. I mean, yes, but I don't think the problem is finding. I mean, part of the problem is finding people, but then the other problem is like finding times that work for like, especially Prague, right? Later on for like homework, it might be okay, but like when you're progging, trying to get people together like that, unless you're gonna pug all your progs, which sounds rough. M16 has 60-man race where the matchmaking is so much better. I find it fun to pug and struggle a little bit. You are a stronger man than I, Grotto. I think the trick is designed around difficulty, not being able punishing. Raid wide mechanics are a big contributor to gatekeeping because it's so great bringing new players on board. I mean, I agree. Which they've kind of gotten away from, like where it's like one person dies and you have to restart. But there's still a lot of gatekeeping regardless. 12 breakers in one round lobby. Imagine matchmaking like Argos. Have any of you guys actually matchmade Argos before? I don't think I've ever matchmade at Argos and got past gate 1. This was a matchmake Argos. Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten past gate 1 in matchmake Argos. Matchmake Argos, but people rarely got past G1. Exactly. I've never experienced it where I could get past gate 1. Gate 1 and done. Oh yeah, people just quit after gate 1 too. You're right. For the people who do make it pass. On the other hand, if you end up with Vaulton, where you could end up solo busing the full 1580 party because nobody knows how to play the game, they don't care because someone else will carry them. It's it's just like a really hard line to draw. Again, I'm hoping maybe the 16, and it can't be this way, right? They're hyping it up so much. I can't imagine this to be like irrelevant content. You know what I mean? Yo, Creamsicle, thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it. They removed the previous 16 raid, so I guess this one has been done better. What was the previous 16 raid? Was that the event raid that was like you had like split into like two parties and like you like or like split in like two groups? Mystic. Did we ever have that? I think we did, right? Was that like the event raid that we had for a little bit? How Mystic? I'd rather have another Vaulton than another Vikings where you get breathe left, you instant wipe. With cannon and stuff, you had like 3 phases, if I recall correctly. Yeah, I think I remember that. I remember doing that. And it was very easy though, if I remember correctly, right? There's some degree of difficulty that extended to a month clear instead of every 2 weeks. I mean, again, I think this is the problem. The issue is like, if it's a difficult raid, most people will probably want to have to coordinate 16 people together, and coordinating 16 people is just sounds like a nightmare. It really does. Felt bad for new players having the first raid be a clown, Brel, Kaya. Seems insane. Imagine not knowing anything. I barely knew what the back attack was on release, and they didn't have indicators. Well, but the nice thing though is a lot of the players like do end up kind of like over gearing, at least clown. Brel, not so much. I feel like with a 6 p.m. raid, if you want people to actually do it, it has to be somewhat easy. Yeah, and that's the way that I think they maybe will implement it. But at the same time, like if you make it so easy, right? What's the point of like hyping it up so much? Like imagine like this whole big like trailer shit, right? Or like this, like oh my god, we're going into this fight. Look at Behemoth. Whoa, it's crazy. And you go in there, you just like literally just like one shot it. It's like, huh? Wait, what? Y'all hype this up for 10 minutes of content? So I don't know. I think like one of the only ways to get like a 60-man raid to work together is kind of like, what was it? Kaisha, right? Where it was pretty damn easy. We cleared that shit in like 1 to 2 shots, I think. But at the same time, it was kind of boring because it was so easy. But yeah, well, I think we'll have to see how this gets implemented. Oh, also, who the fuck is holding this big ass sword in the middle right here? Do you see this shit? The outline right there? That has to be like a berserker, right? But that sword looks way too big to be a berserker.